In many cultures, conversations about money are taboo and even very, very uncomfortable. Could this be what holds us back from having a healthy relationship with money? Join us today for this conversation with our featured guest, Gospel Eadweardfilia, for more on this topic about how you can make friends with money and make money. If you are just joining us, then welcome to the conversation. I'm your host, Brigitte Limbanda from Cape Town in South Africa. And our stream today is made possible by StreamYard and Be Live Media. A special warm welcome to you, our viewers, because without you, we won't have a show. This is an audience centric show. We are monitoring the comments. I am keeping an eye on the comments, so please feel free to say hello or let me know where you are watching us from. If you are brand new to watching my streams, then please type new in the comments and let me give you a shout out. And I'm going to start right away with giving a shout out to Timothy Dunn, who is watching us on LinkedIn. A warm welcome to you. Great to have you join us. Thank you. So, all of us want to have financial freedom. It's a goal. It should be a goal if it isn't yet one. But most of us have a negative view of money. We may not have grown up in a household where money was discussed in a positive manner. And so, talking about money, not achieving financial security or freedom may make us feel overwhelmed, and especially so with the pandemic. But a lot of this may be due to the money scripts we have, that we've been wired to. Can we change that script? Gospel walks her clients through a three-phase program and provides the tools, skills, and expertise to grow your finances and to develop a positive money mindset. Gospel is the founder and director of GOE Enterprise Limited. She lives in the UK. So I'm not going to waste any more time because I am dying to ask her a couple of questions. And so let's invite her to join us on the show, shall we? Gospel, a very warm welcome. I am so pleased that you were able to join us today on the show. Thank you for coming and agreeing to be a guest.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I am so excited about this. It's such a pleasure to be here on your show.
Thank you. You know, money matters is something that we all have to deal with, whether we like it or not. And as you say, how we feel about our money matters can affect our bottom line, um, and our wealth. You know, can we start off by asking you how, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you become a positive money mindset coach? Like, how did this happen?
Thank you for that question. I spent the first 18 years of my life in Nigeria and in a state called Plateau State. And I lived there with my parents and my two younger sisters. Now the thing is, I had two two points of views from both parents. When things were we weren't well off, but I won't say we were poor. We're basically, I'm not entirely sure how to describe what we
Sort
had,
of
but yeah,
middle class or somewhere in between?
no, I think it was lower than middle class because
Lower than middle class.
there had days that yeah, there was a season in our lives that we would not have enough, and I'll ask my mom, and she would say, "Oh, don't worry, God will provide." And you know what? God always did provide. And then there was a season in my life when another parent would say, when let's say we've run out of stuff, and I'll say we've run out of this, that the parent will be like, what do you mean we've run out of it? And then start throwing abuses and stuff like that, and say, have
Yeah.
you done the regeneration method that I just taught you guys? When so so you have a parent that is like, God will provide, another parent that has this kind of scarcity mindset. I was a bit confused, I'm not gonna lie. And I was so glad when we moved to the UK. We were here, we joined one of our parents, and while things in the house was still a bit toxic and all that, I was looking forward to going to university. I was looking forward to just getting out. And yeah, I
I think most
eventually,
people can relate to what that feels like. I think many a teenager have had a similar experience to that.
yeah, yeah, they have. And that is one of the reasons why I want to help that group under 25s and their parents as well, to help them deal with those kind of situations because I went through it. I was so glad when I left home and was at university. But the process to get to university, we didn't have money. My parents could not pay for me to go to university. And I went to university when I was 21 years old. I had the opportunity to apply for a student loan. And because I was considered an adult then, it had to be based on my own income. And I wasn't earning any income at all. So I had to take out the student loan. And that was a huge struggle for me because I did not want to have debt. Because I saw the lifestyle living in Nigeria in poverty, in my opinion, and I hated it. And I thought, no way do I want to now be in debt and start my life with debt. And then, no. So I was looking for scholarships, grants, all the things to be able to go to university, but I didn't get it. And I ended up getting student loans after doing all the research and listening to all the gurus about the student loan. Oh, gospel is very low, it's the lowest loan you'll ever have in your life. And you don't have to pay off after 30 years. It's wiped out. And now it's what I believed, and I took it on. Yeah, and did
Wow.
my degree.
That is absolutely amazing. That is amazing. Why do you think people struggle so much with a negative money mindset, and why is it so difficult to let go of that, and to change your relationship with money?
Um, One of the things that I have come to find is that, we are, all of us, we've learned our money scripts basically. we were we weren't we were all born with this. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that we were born not knowing the difference between lack, enough, and abundance. It's just neutral. But then again, the environment we found ourselves in, we kind of subconsciously absorbed the script of that environment. So there was already a money script that has been passed down from generation to generation, and we took that on. Most of those scripts are partially true, and some of them are rather negative money scripts.
And sometimes
And
we're not even aware of it, right? I mean,
yeah,
we're absorbing the values in around us in our environment, but we may not even be conscious of the fact that we're even doing that.
yeah, indeed, we don't know because that's what we're used to. We've grown. And again, if you grew up in a household where you're supposed to respect your elders and you're supposed to do what they tell you, if you start going against them, you're looked at as a rebellious child or somebody that is disobedient
Or
or
disrespectful.
difficult. Yeah, or disrespectful, exactly. So you end up just, you know, going with the flow really and absorbing and taking on those manuscripts, even though sometimes you might be wondering, why am I actually believing this? When maybe when you're a lot older and you start to associate with other people, you start to question things. And that can be another issue for your environment as well.
And you're right, you really, I was thinking about the age group that you specifically are targeting. It is when you sort of reach that age of about 25 where you start questioning things, because prior to that, you believe everything that you were told and you heard, and you've taken on the belief systems of your family members, your parents, and you may not have had any reason to question it, but as you venture out into the world, you now start asking questions. And
Yeah.
is what I've been doing all my life, is what I know, really the best way?
Yeah.
Is there a better way?
Yeah.
um so we start asking those things. But why do you think it's so hard for people to, especially when it comes to money, why is it so hard for us to make a shift? And why is it that you recommend people look to someone like yourself, who's a coach, to help them change their mindset? Why is it so hard for us to change?
Um, like like I mentioned, because it is something that we're used to. Many people are used to those manuscripts, and when you are in a comfortable state, it's rather
Mm.
difficult to get out of that comfortable state. And wondering what that unknown is, what is it going to look like? So, for instance, I have a client that eventually, well, I say eventually came to me, and their money script turned out to be one of vigilance, because there are four categories of manuscript if you're going to be using the Dr. Brad Clout's manuscript inventory. So her manuscript turned out to be the vigilant one, and the vigilant manuscripts, they tend to really, people will say they are penny pinchers, they're very frugal, they save a lot and things like that. And that came from, when we dug deeper, she now said that her parents, one of them was a spender, and the other one was what we call the nerd. So they were entrepreneurs, they saved money, they made money, and the other parent who spent the money, and she didn't like that. She didn't like the way that parent was behaving and everything like that. So, and that led to the, well, her parents got divorced, and that led her to have this vigilant money script. She would not spend on things she liked or anything like that. She was quite frugal. Now, what I normally say to people is, you can change your money script, or what you can do is you can figure out what your money script is. So you can take that assessment. If you find that you're saying things like money is bad, eat the rich, there's not enough, stuff like that,
So
those are all.
where does one find these assessments? Are they online? Are they on,
Yeah,
where do
yeah, they're
people
online.
find? Yeah.
Yeah. I can put where you can. I've got a link to it in my
Okay.
website.
Okay.
So yeah, I can give it to you and you can put it in your show notes if you want. But they can change their manuscript once they found out what their manuscript is. They can start to change it. So, like someone that has an avoidance manuscript, they are the ones that kind of think that money is bad, and so they don't want to have money. They just don't really are not into it.
Mm.
Now they can start changing their manuscript by now looking for ways that money is good, looking for wealthy people that are doing good, because many of them think that the wealthy, they are corrupt, they are greedy. Start seeking out good wealthy people in their own opinion, and then you can start to change their money script that way. Now, like I mentioned, you can do it all by yourself. But the thing is, you are still in your environment that has that manuscript, because most likely your environment is what informs your manuscript. So with
Mm.
you still being in that environment, it will be difficult for you to completely change your manuscript. Now,
By yourself. Yeah.
yeah, by themselves. So some people might be able to do it, that they start to see improvements in their lives. So they start to see money coming more to them. They start to grow their finances, but it's with loads of effort, and it is really, really difficult for others. And then they slip back and, oh my God, this is too much work, it's taking forever. And because they're surrounded by their environment that are either mocking them or ridiculing them, they fall back. Some of them might even fall back into debt. Some of them might even end up being bankrupt and stuff like that. And then they now remember, oh, I need to change my manuscript. And then they do it all over again. So they have this yo-yo sort of roller coaster kind of situation. But when you are with the coach helps you, they guide you. And this
Mm.
is what this client did. Her environment, they kept telling me, my environment, they don't think like this, gospel. This is how they think. And I said, I know it's hard, but you know what? You are doing great. We, you are doing great. We came up with a systematic, personalized plan for her, because she's her thing is money vigilant. She doesn't spend. We created a spending plan for her to enjoy life, and not just live that type of lifestyle. So to answer your question, yeah, with by yourself, you will go to a certain level, but with a coach, you go a lot further in your life, and your manuscript, really, really does change, and you start to view life a bit different. In fact, much, much different than if you had just stayed and done it all by yourself.
So if someone has a negative view of money, and they're looking to change how they see money and increase their wealth, what is this? What are the steps? So they approach you and they say, "Gospel, I would like to do better financially. Can you explain how your 3-step approach works with clients?"
Yeah. So the steps that what happens is we get on a we get on a 15 minutes call and all that, and then I now we now have the first step is your financial growth party. And in your financial growth party, what happens is we look we look at your current situation. So I would have sent you out like the questionnaire that you can. I would have sent you your a form where you put in your income, your expenses, all of that stuff. And then when I'm looking at it, we talk about how you are with your money. And based on some other assessment I would have done, I'll have a good idea of that. So in that first step,
So it's an assessment first.
yeah, the assessment first, and then within the assessment in that financial growth party, we we create like your dream plan. You tell me what you want out of your life, basically. So like, when do you want to retire? How does retirement look like for you? What do you want to be doing? Stuff like that in that first step. And
Yeah,
then once we do that, then the second stage would be after we've come up with all the things that you need to do, then we now start implementing it. So that is the financial organization phase, which is tailored to you based on um, the
your
assessment
goals.
that you've had,
Yeah,
yeah, and your goals. And then the third step would be the financial accumulation phase, in which this is where you now start to really exponentially grow your money. So those are the three phases, three
right.
steps. Yeah.
Yeah. And typically, who are the kind of people that reach out to you, do you find?
Um. So it tends to be, well, it does vary a bit, but I like to work with people that are looking for ways to increase their money. So they are in this space where they ask this question: how can I make more money to invest?
Mm.
How can I make more money to get rid of my debt quickly? Those are the type of questions they do ask. They have to be in that state where they've had enough of watching all the gurus, reading all the books and all that stuff, and they are ready to really organize and get clear on their money and start growing their money well and change. They want to do all the things to be able to, achieve that financial freedom that they so desperately want to achieve.
Yeah. Could you give us maybe one or two examples of people who started out with having a negative money mindset, and how going through this process with you has helped them um, move from a negative money mindset to a positive money mindset?
Mm. So like with the client that I was sharing, Miss Tan, um, I said she was of the vigilant manuscript she had, and she came with those ideas of she needs to hold on to the money, she saves and all of that stuff. She doesn't spend, she doesn't go out to do any activities like that. And most times when you look at it on the surface, you're like, oh, but they're doing all the right things and all that stuff. Not having a life, not a really good thing. Workaholism is what she had. She was just
Mm.
working and saving the money and not enjoying her life and anything like that. And she was
Isn't it
getting
sad?
overwhelmed. Huh?
Isn't it quite sad, when you
Yeah,
meet people like that? They work so hard, they put their heart and soul into saving up, but they never spend money on themselves. And the people that eventually enjoy it are family, friends, whoever they bequeath it to after they've died, but they
yeah,
themselves have never really gotten to enjoying the fruits of their hard labor.
yeah, exactly. And I noticed that because she had 6 months saved up for her emergency fund. She had done all the things. She doesn't have any debts and all that, but she did not have a life. And I said, no, this is it's good that you've saved up this amount of money, but you know what? You're all over the place and you're getting yourself in a state because she was just overwhelmed and really stressed. And what we did together, I helped her. We did the whole process. She had her financial growth party. Um, she had the dream and all that. She wants to go to Florida and she wants to be doing archery and all the stuff that she wanted to do. And I said, okay, here is the plan. We looked at her income and expenses, and then with with all with everything in place, she created her budget because I know I will help people get a budget. She did not have a budget. She was just saving money. So she created a budget. And this this lady, she now she actually sent me a text and she was like, oh my God, Gospel, I feel so relieved that, I just went on a weekend vacation with my boyfriend. I was like, oh, look at you. Look at you going
You
out.
you you did something fun for a change.
you know? So, yeah. So I was like, well done. And then she shocked me some more. And she said, my kitchen, I'm looking at flooring for my kitchen. I was like, well, look at you, big spender type of thing. She could see that she knew where all her money was going because we created a plan
A
for
plan.
every bit of her money. And she knew that it's not going to go away because she had some reserve. She had money for fun, she had money for her house, she had money for everything. And she felt relieved with that. So,
She was living for a change.
yeah, totally. So now we are moving into the next phase, which is she's going into the financial accumulation phase now. And she's looking into having her own home-based business, which is one of the things I specialize in, helping people become, entrepreneurs and self-employed people.
Well, there couldn't be a more apt time or important time for people to do that than now. Because a lot of people who were employed in the corporate world were laid off due to the pandemic. And so
Yeah,
a lot of people are wanting to pivot. And some people have just discovered that they enjoy working from their kitchen table or their lounge table. They enjoy being the freedom to work around their families and their children. And so those
yeah,
people have also been wanting to start their own businesses instead of being a part of the corporate world. So I think there is a hunger right now for change. And then there are a lot of people who lost their income and they're looking for ways. to work from home and generate an
Yeah.
income, but they need to do so smartly, or there may
Yeah.
be people who have been given packages, retrenchment packages, and they're now having to find ways to work very smartly with that money, um, because it may have to last them a very long time and they need to know how to invest that. um, you know. So once somebody enrolls with you on a coaching class or coaching plan, how have you found, are people able to change their relationship with money on a long term basis, or do you find that people sometimes slide back, and that is why coaching uh, works, because you can actually keep them on track? What have you found?
Yeah, totally. I found that because my coaching program is a minimum of 6 months, and there is a reason I choose to have it minimum 6 months, because most of the time, if you do it for like maybe 3 months, um, it's not enough to really get into that habit. And I found that those that in the past, those that did it for 3 months, they end up slipping back. And I don't want that to happen. So I put it to be minimum of 6 months. And still with those ones, it is the ones that are really, they are disciplined. That's the word I was looking for. They are disciplined, that I can say, okay, yeah, I think we can say goodbye. But if you need any support with anything else, then you can always reach back. Now,
Mm,
the ones that make good long-term process are the ones that carry on long term, because there is there is a package in which you can carry on with me continuously for as long as you want. And those are the ones that really make good progress. They don't slip back, because they have access to me. They say, Gospel, I am feeling a particular type of way. Please, please do something. Then, I remind them.
their
And
goals.
yeah, I remind them that, you remember, this is where you are going. So if you want to get there quicker, then you know what to do. But if you are quite happy to chill and it takes you 5 years, that's all right. It's up to you. So um yeah, I do find that if you have continuous coaching and continuous accountability, you achieve a lot more.
That's just what I was going to say, is that you essentially become the accountability partner.
Yeah,
um and I think when you are accountable to someone, you tend to think twice
yeah,
about your your bad habits, because you know that you're going to have to talk to someone about it and explain yourself, but in a good way, because
yeah,
if you are accountable, because the end result is really about you and the outcomes that you are desiring,
yeah,
with your finances. So 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 one, we've now established that you run these courses, and it's 6 months. It's a 6 months commitment, but people can continue, um, if they so wish. But you're also running a masterclass. Can you tell us a little bit about your masterclass and how that works, and how is your masterclass different from your regular coaching sessions?
So every end of the month, so the next one will be from the week beginning the 26th of July. Um, People get access to my 5-day money management challenge, and that is really like a precursor to the masterclass. they get to have spend for 5 days, 15 minutes every day. They watch videos, instructions of what to do with their so like the one would be sorting out their income, finding out all their income sources like that. 15 minutes just spent doing that, and just to prepare them for what the master class would be like. Now, in this master class is where it's about 60 minutes in which they get a deep dive into, how to actually manage their money and look at they get tips, tools on depending on what their money script is, how they can view how to manage their money and not get stuck and stuff like that, or and get into a difficult situation. It's kind of like I want to get them all ready and in a place where they are, financially organized. And then I will invite them to work with me closer one to one, because sometimes in that master class it's general, so it's not really specific to you, and there'll be loads of questions arising, and you want more in-depth, personalized care and plan, and that's when you can then choose to have the coaching program. You can go join the Financial Growth Accelerator program. And that's the minimum of 6 months one. So the masterclass is really, I show people that based on your income source, you can manage your money right now. You can be able to get to that place where you are not stressed, not too stressed or overwhelmed with your finances. And I share with you ways that you can prioritize certain categories within your household income. And yeah, get to a place where you start to view money a bit different as a tool, which it is a tool to help you to, achieve your goals in life.
So you basically, so you have group sessions, but you also have one-on-one sessions,
Yeah.
um, with with people. And do you find that generally after people have done the masterclass with you and or they've done 6 months with you, that some of them choose to just to stay on because they've seen the value?
Yes. So that's why it's opened up. Yeah. They've seen that wow, this I didn't know. A lot of, like, one of the feedback I got for someone was that, wow, I didn't know all this stuff. And that's one of the things that you get to have from there. You don't you get to have a lot of aha moments, and then they want to stay on longer.
So you say that we are all gold mines, but we don't know how to mine the gold.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that is basically what you do. And do you find that people sometimes don't know their own value, and that you are
Yes.
able to point that out for them and say to them, but this is what you can do. Sometimes we may underestimate our knowledge or our abilities, and we may not be aware of our strengths. But it sometimes takes an outside person like yourself to say, "But hey, you really good at this. You could turn that into an income stream, and you may not have thought about it in that way before."
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of value in the service that you offer, for people to be able to talk to you in a space where they can talk about their money challenges, um, And it's somehow also easier, I think. I think it's easier to talk to a money coach than to try and seek help from a family member or a friend, um, because a stranger is more likely to be more objective, not just more objective, but I think also may come up with suggestions that you are more open to receiving than you may be um, towards a friend or a family member, right?
Yeah, it's very true. Because even sometimes a family member, they too, they've got their own manuscripts, and that they might also tell you their manuscripts, and then it becomes another situation right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's our money values, as you said, just to recap, are taught. They and as a it could be untaught. We can
hmm
unlearn our bad habits, but sometimes we're not even aware of the fact that we have bad money habits. Some of us aren't, others aren't, until someone says to us, hey, you could do this or that or the other better. um, so I think, yeah, so people, can reach out to you as a money coach. What is it that you love about this? Like, where did you develop your love for talking about money and changing people's money scripts? Was it from your own personal learned experience?
yeah, it was from my own personal experience. Those student loans really did a number on me. It was I hated having student loans, and when
Just
my
talk about
first
that for a second. Gospel, I want to just pause there for a second, because that is a situation that thousands upon thousands of students find themselves in. Even our medical doctors, some of them will sit with those student loans for many years after they've gone into their practices. um so do you have some tips for people that are out there right now that have these huge student loans and feel like they are literally trapped because they've got this noose around their neck with student loans?
yeah, from with my own experience, I was told that I did not have to pay the student loan up. And here in the UK, you have a threshold before you start paying the student loans. And coming out of university, my first job, I wasn't earning that threshold. But one thing again, even while I was in university and with all the skills I learned from the life lessons I learned from living in Nigeria, managing my managing the household, I had to figure out how to budget and things. I used that when I was at university and be living on £90, £90 a month. People were wondering, how are you surviving? But that was because I did not want to spend more than the money that I had for that I had taken on. And so when I graduated, the following April, I got my student loan statement, and I was horrified. I was horrified. I almost had a heart attack because I saw the amount and I was like, no way is this the amount. I kept track of that money. But one thing that I did not realize was compound interest. Compound interest. That money grew. And each time that I did not pay that student loan, that money grew. I said, no way, I'm not sitting on this. No way. So I did everything I could to pay off that money. I got 5 income streams. I worked
Wow.
from, yes, I worked from, I left my home at 7 in the AM and got back to my apartment at 10 in the PM to pay that money off. And I paid it
Wow.
off. And the relief. I actually cried on the phone to the guy because that was just, and the journey towards paying off that loan involved me looking for answers and doing my research. And I came across a lot of different thought process. People were saying to me, why am I stressing myself trying to pay off this thing? And that was the majority of the words that I was hearing. But I kept saying, there's got to be another school of thought that thinks that you can pay off your student loan. And I am a Christian, and I believe in the word of God. And I started asking God to open my eyes to find the people that would help me pay off my student loan. And I found a different thought process, people that think like the way I was thinking. And I was so happy that I found them. The one that I found that one when I had paid off my student loan. And if I had found that person before I paid off I would have paid off my student loan in less time than I did. It took me 7 years to pay off my student loan. I believe I would have paid it off in like 3 to 5 years, because there is something that happens when you set loose that desire to crush your debt. Imagine I would just wake up in the night and I will have divine inspiration. Now I know it as divine inspiration. And initially I will be thinking, oh, that's just a thought, but I took hold of those inspiration. One of those divine inspiration was something just said, gospel, make flyers and rent out your parking space. And I was like, okay, I printed out, made flyers, and then go and then display it in the um, train station. And I did that. 1 week went, 2 weeks, 4 weeks later, 2 weeks later, I was seeing posters in the train station that they were going to refurbish the train station. 4 weeks after I had sent that, a lady called me and said, I want to rent out your parking spot. That brought in an additional income stream, and I was able to pay off my student loan. So I will be walking on the street and I'll see money on the floor. Things like that were happening. So yeah, it is
That is
possible.
amazing. That is amazing. And I think, the sense of relief that you must feel to have paid it off so much sooner instead of the allotted time, and plus all the interest that you would have paid on top of interest, on top of interest. And I think a lot of people don't realize that that is what really kills you, is that accumulation of the interest
Yeah,
on your student loan. So to try and get it paid off as soon as possible, it's not as easy said as done, though. I mean, I think of people. I mean, you come from Africa, but there's a lot of people in poverty stricken areas where, I know that the thinking is often that once you graduate, you now become responsible for your younger siblings, and so it's now your job as the graduate to bring in an income and pass that on to the next person. But what the families often don't understand is that a young graduate has still got this huge noose around their neck of
yeah,
debt that they've got to kill, and it's going to take a long time before they really have disposable income to help anyone else with, until they've killed that debt. And I think that is why so many graduates are struggling with their money scripts,
yeah,
in particular.
yeah. Um, I've got my own opinion about that particular situation, but I'm not gonna air it. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna air it right now.
I think that's another topic for another day, right?
Yep, absolutely.
It's a topic entirely on its own. But Gospel, thank you so much. This was awesome. I appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing your insights um, on the fact that we can change our money script and that we can do better. And
Thank you.
absolute pleasure. And my hope is that people will reach out to you if they are looking for a coach to help them change their own personal money script. Gospel, thank you so much. It was great having you on the show. Appreciate your time. Do stay
Thank
safe.
you.
And will you stay in the green room while we just say goodbye to everyone? So with that, a huge big thank you to you, our audience. Thank you if you've been watching us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Amazon Live, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. We totally appreciate you. Thank you for joining us live today. And if you're joining us on the replay, welcome to and thank you for watching. So with that, take care, everyone, and do stay safe. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Almost 3 billion people and counting are consuming video content on their devices. BeLive Media helps brands position their products and services to people at a time and manner that's convenient to them. If you would like to reach your customers and clients and stay ahead of your competitors, then connect with us.